Hey everybody, welcome to Shit I Love with Jason Stuart. I'm here today with actor, stuntman, and my old friend Erik Audé. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Jason. I really appreciate being here.
I got to tell you, so we met literally probably over 20 years ago.
It's coming on 20 years now, yeah.
We met in 99?
I think it was 99.
Yeah, and you were just a kid, like 19 years old.
19, yeah.
And you had just, he had a small part in a film that I produced called 10 Attitudes.
10 Attitudes in a Date, right?
No, it was called 10 Attitudes.
Right.
It was, the original title was 10 Attitudes in a Day. That's so funny that you remember that. And you played a prostitute.
I played a guy that was working as at a clothing store.
But you were basically trying to be
gay for pay.
Yeah, a prostitute. It's just insane. And I did not like him when I met him. He was cocky and almost mean on the interview.
No, it wasn't me being mean. That's just my personality.
Oh, yeah.
It's an apples and oranges. You either hate me or you love me.
No,
trust me. I rub people the wrong way all the time.
You're not that guy at all. Now, but you were fun to work with. We had a great time. But you scared the shit out of me when I first met you. I said, this guy's going to hurt me, you know. and the director, Michael Gallant, wanted you, and I'm really glad. I'm thankful to him that we cast you, and we've stayed in touch for almost 20 years. And your girlfriend and I were just in a movie together that called Divergent Eden, which is now called Abandoned, which is all over you can look for it, Abandoned, starring Scout Taylor Compton. So you can look for that all over. And he is now promoting a documentary, but it's not just a documentary that he's promoting. It's an experience that happened to him. How many years ago did you get back from Pakistan?
I've been back. I got back December 26, 2004. So it's coming on 14 years.
14 years. And you made a documentary, basically another filmmaker. What's her name?
Jamie Lynn Lippman.
She made a documentary on you that you helped finance and helped, but it's basically her vision.
It was her vision, my story, and my money. But she talked me into doing it, into trusting her, into telling my story and my words, and she was the driving force. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have told it.
Really powerful. I'm actually watching it on my phone. An old man like me watching it on my phone. If somebody would have said that to me 10 years ago, I would have laughed in their face. And I have to say, it really moved me. It moved me even more because I know you and I'm your friend. And Erik is an actor and a stuntman, very successful. I think one of the biggest things that you did was probably American Sniper. It's the biggest role you've had, right? In terms of the most prominent, what would I call all the elements?
Yeah,
having the part.
For the status of the movie, it won an Oscar, and it was also the highest grossing movie
That's
of
what I mean.
2014.
All the elements, that's your...
It was very cool to work with Clint Eastwood. It's my second movie with him.
Uh-huh.
It was great to be part of that. I auditioned for 5 roles in that movie, and I got the role of Thompson, the gunner, and I got to go to Morocco and film. It was
with Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. I mean, he was in character the whole time, so I can't say he was a friendly guy because he was in a dark state of mind, and that's why he's so good at what he does.
People always say some people can do that, but some people can't. So a lot of times I can't. I'm noticing the more I work and the more I become better at what I do, I can't either. I can't leave it. I noticed lately when I've been doing things, did a film called The Line for DirecTV and I played an anti-abortionist leader. And it was really hard. And people didn't like me. You could tell. They got me mixed up with the guy. Does that ever happen to you when you play somebody really mean in something?
Yeah, I don't know if in this day and age how this joke will go, but I was working on the show Shark back in 2006 with James Woods, and I played a college football player that was accused of raping an actress, and the actress was played by Ariel Kibble. Now we're over at the Fox lot. And, I'm working on it for all week long, so I'm trying to be nice to this girl. And I go up to talk to her in between takes, and she says to me, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're a great guy, but I want to stay in character, and I don't want to like you. And that was sort of like a punch in my gut. But my sense of humor, I was like, no, I completely understand. I'm the same way. I was about to go rape the craft service lady. I thought it was so ridiculous. It's between characters and all that stuff.
But not anymore.
Can't joke.
Do you still feel that way now?
What?
That sometimes people can't talk to somebody.
I mean, I can no,
To,
I can talk to anyone, but when she says like, I don't want to like you because I want to stay in
but
character.
you understand how she? But that was her.
Yeah.
That's the way. If she liked you, then all of a sudden it would change her performance. Sometimes you just. It's not that you're not good enough. That's just something that you can't do. I work with Gabrielle Union on American Birth of a Nation, and my character rapes her.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Now I gotta watch the.
Yeah.
I see. I've played a rapist 7 times. And it's
only once.
It's not
but
fun, right?
I look forward to
it's
the
not
next.
fun.
No, but they didn't. They did. She didn't
like
really.
I'm embarrassed every time I have to do it. But I mean, those are the roles. Those are the kind of roles I get typecast as for some reason. The jock, the bully, the
tough guy.
Yeah.
But she wasn't overly wanting to talk to me either, and I realized after all, oh, she doesn't want to have this closeness. And sometimes you have to do that in order to keep your space, because some people can do it, some people can't. I don't think it's a judgment. Everybody's different. I find that you're the guy, you probably won't like me because I find that it's really hard to do that too. That if you really want to go to the depth of really good work, it's really hard.
I understand it, but from my point of view, because I'm playing the rapist, it hurts my feelings because everyone hates me on set.
Oh, all the girls, all the young girls
that
were in the line with me. It was a film made by the producer Lena Waithe's show, The Shy, and her producer Shelby. I think Shelby Brown. I think couldn't remember the last name. Shelby was, and you could see that she was protecting all the women, and there was a feeling of, oh, I'm the bad guy, and I could feel it it was because they were actually feeling it as the actresses against me. So it's hard to sort of drop that, because we're all okay. Wait, we're resetting up, and so the feelings are still there, even though they're not real, but they feel like real feelings. It's complicated. And for those of us who don't stay on movies for a long amount of time, like myself, I'm usually a supporting actor. If I'm there a week, I'm really lucky, No,
I'm the same way. Like, I mean,
right.
The roles I play, when I was on, I understand people want to stay in character and everything, but when they're like going out of the way to be mean to you the whole time, you're still a human being. Like when I was on the show,
you mean actually off the set? You mean?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's
different. And that's what this is when we were. This wasn't between takes. Like it was when we were filming away from it. Like we were in the courtroom. There was no actual filming of the rape happening. It was all being talked about.
And mine too.
And so when I did the show Rizzoli and Isles, I played a rapist on that show too. And for the first 2 days, everyone was mean to me on set. People were no one wanted to sit with me at lunch. No one wanted to talk to me.
Oh, God.
And I'm a very friendly person. Like, I want to talk to everyone. I want to have fun. For me, this is an experience, and I want to, make the most of it. So I try to make friends and connections, but no one wanted to talk to me. On day 3, though, I did my own stunt where I got hit by the car and just spun around, and everyone thought it was so cool. Then everyone wanted to talk to me. And
so they want to talk to. So you should get this. They want to talk to the guy that does cool things, but they don't want to talk to the guy that rapes people.
Right. And I was like, why didn't we do the car scene on day 1? Because everyone was so mean to me. But isn't it interesting?
Even in our own business, it's hard to differentiate between what you're playing and who you are, because it lingers. It lingers on you. I really believe that. It lingers on you, and it's not comfortable. I didn't feel, but I have to say, the director was really great to me. She understood, and she sent me this really great letter. And she said I could see it was hard for you, because I am the same way as you. I like to be nice to people and hang. But
yeah, I like to talk to people. I like to make people smile and laugh.
Well, not as the rapist.
It's not
going to happen.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
No. Well, because it's a big deal these days. Everything, and there's so much going on now with women becoming empowered and taking their space, and now there's so much going on.
I was recently offered a role in a buddy of mine's independent movie playing a serial killer that's also a rapist, and honestly, I turned him down because it was because I don't want to. I've done that role too many times, but also it sucks when I'm on set and people. Like I like to lighten the mood in between takes because it's not fun for me to play that.
Well, you have your way of doing it that works for you. It doesn't work for everybody.
I get it, but
I'm
not comfortable on set with everyone hating me. So I'd rather not play that role if I can help it, unless it's like on a big movie.
Uh-huh.
I just I don't want doing it because of how people treat me on set because I'm doing it.
And also, you've had enough of that in your life. So you have a film out called 3 years in Pakistan.
We probably should have started that then, rather than that I keep getting cast as a rapist. By the way, I've been in over 200 films myself. That's not the only role I play. I play, soldier, thug. I play good guys, bad guys. I've done a great period piece movie called Fill the Lost Shoes with Sean McNamara, where I have a 6-page monologue to start the movie off. It takes place.
I really want to see that, and I tried to look that up, and I couldn't find it.
Oh, it's a great movie. You have to watch it. It takes place before the Civil War.
I mean, you've been on some great shows like Timeless, Major Crimes, SWAT, This Is Us. I saw you on This Is Us.
I did the season finale. This Is Us, playing a thug and doing my own stunts.
Exactly. So being a stunt guy, for those actors listening out there, has really been a benefit for you. It's really made your career.
Yeah, well, it helps because I can deliver the lines they need and I can do the stunt they need. So I'm 2 people in 1. So I'm saving the production a lot of money, and I'm also helping them with camera angles and time because they don't have to double me. They double the other actor, and they can focus on me, and it ties in a lot easier.
Do you want to go further, and do you want to just in your documentary, which we're going to talk about in a minute, it said you always wanted to be a star like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, a action star.
When I was a kid, yeah, those were my goals. My goals were to be an action star, to be the guy that you watched on TV, and I wanted to be like that big muscular guy. So that inspired me to go to the gym and get big and in shape. But now that I'm older, my simple goal in life is to be happy. My simple goal in life is to be happy. I love working, but it's not make or break for me. A lot of people are like, I have to work to be happy, and that's not me.
So you don't really want to. You would want to be an action star now?
No, I mean, I would love to, but I don't strive anymore. Honestly, I set very little goals for myself. My goal is just to get through each day as easily as possible. My goal is just to simply laugh and be good, and eat healthy and treat others right. That's my goal. And if I get to work, great. But if I never worked again, life is still gonna be great.
I think I feel different if I know. I always have that goal to do a better performance in something, but my goals have changed, and I don't want to do everything anymore. I used to want to do everything. It has to be good material and a good director and something that I think that's actually going to be out there in the ethers.
Well, see, I do everything and anything. I mean, I know I just turned down my buddy's role. It's because he wanted me to play a serial killer.
He's not listening to this. We don't want to.
No, we're still friends. I mean,
I would have played that part.
Yeah, well, have you done it 7 times before? You've done it once before on a big movie.
Yeah.
It's I've been there, done that. But I do usually say yes to everything, and I work on everything big and small. But if I had to pick right now, my goal would be to become a consistent working stunt coordinator. I really enjoy creating the action, keeping everyone safe.
So more so than acting?
I do, actually. I think it's fun to be the guy in charge rather than... I've worked for so many idiots in the 26 years that I've been working. I've been hurt unnecessarily so many times because of extra takes.
Safety.
Yes. It wasn't until like 2008 that I started standing up for myself on set. When they're like, hey, can you fall down these stairs while we set up the shot?
It's the same way as an actor now working on a lot of independent films. I've been around so long, I go, it might be a good idea to get a shot of his hand, so in case you can't connect these 2 shots, you have something to to cut off to. Because the light's coming down. Do you realize that you can't do a shot like this? It's going around a circle, because when you do it the other way, it's going to be a different lighting. So it's going to look like a different day. You can't, oh, thank you. But I always take some off to the side and I say that. Some people are open to it and some people are not. You realize it after a while, after you work with them, who's open and who's not. And you just shut up, and then they get to the film and you go, oh, that doesn't match. That looks really weird.
Oh, I mean, I see that stuff I'll recommend too, but bottom line, people, when it comes to physical stunts and everything, it's my body, and I've been hurt unnecessarily working so many times. That's another thing. So I'll tell people, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, why did we hire you? You hired me to get the shots, and I'm going to give you 2 shots, and that's it. So you're going to you better have the cameras right, because at the end of the day, it's my body. You don't get that unnecessarily hurt me. I literally got asked by this movie back in the day. I got asked, hey, Erik, can you fall down the stairs for us so that we can line up the shot? And I said, I tell you what, you fall down the stairs, I'll line up the shot. And they're like, whoa. They're like, whoa, what's with the attitude? No, the attitude, you just asked me to fall down the stairs and not film it.
I thought you were the nicest guy.
No, not when it comes to me getting hurt. Like, I've done...
Yeah, but they don't know this. They're so ignorant. That's the thing.
Exactly, and I got to tell them this. I'm like, we're not meant to be unbreakable.
Yes.
This scar on my head was a very unnecessary take 3.
Oh.
Okay?
So you can go all over your body and go, oh, yeah. Take 3, take 6.
I got smashed on the set of Dunkirk. Because they didn't tell us, because Christopher Nolan loves to film real. And at the end of I had to get rushed to the emergency room because I thought I broke my hip again. And it was
Again?
Yeah, I had my hip smashed when I was a kid. It's in the documentary.
Yes.
Where
Let's start talking about the doc.
Yeah, I can go on in Hollywood forever, but
Yes.
I've had all kinds of stories on every set.
He's a little rambunctious, but he's a sweet guy. So, in what year did this happen? So, you were trying to make a little extra money. Your mom turned you on to somebody, or
no,
your brother?
No, I did. It was my.
Oh, it was your connection.
This is my connection. Like after I met you, or when I was actually talking to you, I was working at a gym in Burbank.
I remember
as a nighttime manager / personal trainer for several guests there at the gym. And one of my clients was also became one of my best friends. Introduced himself as a very successful Armenian businessman. He owned clothing stores, he owned car dealerships, and he was always driving around in flashy cars. And he was hiring a lot of young people from the gym to travel around the world for him, importing expensive leather samples, and he'd pay them for it. Everyone basically got a free trip and $800 spending cash to do whatever they wanted with.
And keep in mind, you came from a poorer family. You never traveled anywhere. You never went out of the country. You never got to saw different things.
I had never been out of the country at this time.
So you really wanted to.
I mean, saying that I came from a poor family is kind of bad. I mean, we were middle class. It wasn't like
but not
hand to mouth kind of food.
Right, but you didn't have enough money to go on these kind of vacations.
Oh, never. No, I was.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't have any help from any of my family.
That's what I mean.
I was working a minimum wage job and then making extra money as a trainer, and I was doing extra work and little gigs here and there as an actor, like my co-starring and supporting roles, and a very, very few reoccurring. Bottom line, though, I needed a job to fill in all the gaps between auditioning and whatnot.
Exactly.
So I was 19 years old.
You wanted to go out of you wanted to see Turkey or another place.
I was to be a young guy and never having traveled outside of the country. It was a dream job. It was a legit job, but I didn't just go on a whim. I'd known this man for 9 months before I finally decided to go, and it was because I'd seen so many other people making these great trips, coming back with all these wonderful stories, that made me, that turned me on to the idea of going. But
so you had other friends who'd gone?
Dozens. All the people from the gym. He was hiring several people from the gym. They were all making these trips. My friends from the gym.
And how did you meet this guy?
At the gym.
And what was his name?
His name was he introduced himself as Ray Gazarian.
I'm saying all this. I know this. He's looking at me like I'm stupid.
Oh, my bad.
I'm doing it because people at home are listening, and
he introduced himself.
It's not just you and I talking here.
I forgot.
We're not just talking. So pull it back, honey, just a little bit.
He introduced himself as Ray Gazarian. I would find
out.
I
actually watched the documentary, so I know some of the little selling points of what, and that's part of the story. So go ahead.
I would find out much later that his real name was Raz McManassian.
Exactly.
Now, Raz McManassian was recruiting people to unknowingly smuggle narcotics for him, and I would be the idiot that found out the hard way.
What was the narcotic? I never heard of it.
Opium.
Oh, but they used a different name in the documentary. Am I correct?
No.
It was called something else.
Drugs?
No, they said something else. It was something. It was a longer name. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I'm listening to it on my phone, so I may have missed something.
Maybe.
But because when someone calls on your phone, what do? You got to go back and you got to find the thing, and it's all. Go ahead, because everybody knows going. Jason, why are you interrupting?
The job is. I'm just going to knock it down real quick. The job was traveling around the world, importing expensive leather samples, and getting paid for it. All right. For me, I would have just the trip alone was payment enough. The $800 was nothing.
Sounds like nothing now.
It was nothing now, but back then to a kid,
of course,
$800 is a lot of money. But the trip itself was amazing. I'd never been out of the country. I've only been to a few states, and I thought this was such a legit, great job that I encouraged it to everyone. My friends.
Also, the really important thing that I didn't know from the story is that you asked him, "Hey, what's the worst thing that can happen?" You asked him that, right?
I asked him many times that stuff,
and he said, you just get a fine if you.
Well, it wasn't him that told me this. It was my mom's FBI friend who told me this.
Okay.
My mom, because when I told my mom about these job opportunities,
you're right. Of course, you're right. It's your job.
She said that she said it sounds too good to be true, but she asked her friend to talk to me, who was an FBI friend. She thought that by me talking to him, he would talk me out of it. What this guy ended up doing was actually making me decide, okay, there's nothing wrong, because he says, bottom line, this happens all the time. People bring back things, rugs,
this poor guy must
diamonds.
Have felt terrible.
I don't know. I've never spoken to him since.
Well,
But
surprise, surprise.
when I asked him, when I told him what had happened or what was being offered to me, the traveling around the world importing expensive leather goods, claiming it as my own to beat the 55% import tax, he says this happens all the time.
That was a really big point to me, because I remember when your mother called me and asked me to send some money, which I did, and asked me to send you letters, which I did.
Yeah, I remember getting letters from you.
I never knew if they really got to you until you told me later. But then I remember thinking, why would he do this? Why would he go to, after 9/11, go to a Middle Eastern country? And apparently there was much more information in the documentary. You'll find out if you go to see it. And where is it playing?
Right now it's playing at the Laemmle in North Hollywood on Chandler and Magnolia. Tonight I'm hosting
It's October 3rd and October 4th. So if you're listening to this afterwards, you can't go there.
If this is 2020, it's probably not happening.
But this is 2018.
Yeah.
So it's playing at the Laemmle
tonight, October 3rd, 2018. It's playing at the Laemmle in North Hollywood.
And to meet you in person, and if you say something he doesn't like, he won't punch you or yell at you. So
no, I won't do any of that. But there's 4 showings at the Laemmle. I'll be at the 7:10 showing tonight and tomorrow night for the Q&A afterwards. My documentary, 3 Years in Pakistan, the Erik Audé Story, is actually available as of yesterday on iTunes,
which
Amazon.
Is October 2nd. So
yesterday, October 2nd.
Unless you're listening, if you're listening to this,
if you're listening to this now, it's available. You can find it. You can go on demand on DirecTV. Just type in 3 Years in Pakistan, the Erik Audé Story. Or online at Target. You can order it Blu-ray, DVD. iTunes is very popular.
I'm listening to it now on iTunes.
Okay, it's perfect.
Right on my phone. And that's why, so occasionally if the call comes in, don't answer it.
How far into the movie are you?
I'm almost done. It took me so long to figure out how to do it, as I said before, because I'm so old.
And how is it as far as explaining everything about
I think it's great. I mean, other than I'm misunderstanding half the things, but it's great because then you can tell the people. But I don't want to tell the whole story because I want them to watch it.
Absolutely.
But when you went there, what happened is you got caught. When you were coming home, unbeknownst to you, that there was only one suitcase with 7 jackets in it, I guess, and sewn into the jackets professionally.
Not into the jackets, into the wall of the suitcase. It was never in the jackets. The jackets was a smokescreen. By making me think that I'm working to beat the import tax with the jackets, it was keeping my real attention off the fact they were using it as a Trojan horse. The drugs were inside the wall of the suitcase. You open the suitcase, it looks like an empty suitcase. That's how professionally compact and hidden it was. Drug smugglers are shameless. If they can get you to travel around and importing drugs without knowing, they don't have to pay you what you're really worth, and they figure you won't draw suspicion to yourself.
Exactly. It's like if you know it, then that's when you're nervous. But if you don't know it, you're just thinking, well, what is he?
Correct. And the thing about my documentary is doesn't just happen to me. This happens all the time to all kinds of people. But in everyone's eyes, possession is 10/10 of the law. It's not. Before I went to jail, I figured if you're in jail, you deserve to be there. Now I believe the majority of people in jail probably are innocent, and that's not just in Pakistan. That's here in America. People cop to lesser deals because they're afraid of fighting it and not being able to prove their innocence, and then face 5 to 10 years. So
because they're told all the time, that this happened. There's precedent for this. This is what we do here. Everybody does this. Everybody does that.
Everyone cops to please so that
which they don't do for rich people.
Well, if you got good money, then you can afford it. Now, how many people have the money to get a good lawyer?
Exactly.
Not very many.
Or fight their taxes, Donald Trump. But I'm just saying how many. Right, because the thing is that's the thing. It's the hardest thing at my age to really understand is that if you don't have lots and lots of money, you're going to stay in jail. Yep. And that's basically what happened to you, right?
That's exactly what happened to me. I was offered, I would spend 3 years in jail in Pakistan for a crime I didn't commit. And I could have gone home after only a little bit after a year had I just pled guilty and paid the judge off, but I refused to plead guilty for a crime I did not commit.
That's the part that I can't understand.
Okay, look.
Look at you and look at me.
No.
I would have been somebody's bitch. Okay, please. I would have had a relationship, married, and a ring.
Well, let's look at it in this scenario. Let's say I had pled guilty for a crime that I know I didn't commit. Mm-hmm. I would have come home and I would have been depressed and I would have hated myself for having done it. I would have regretted it for the rest of my life.
I'm depressed anyway, so I wouldn't have done it.
At the end, a lot of people wouldn't have.
But I'm not judging.
And
I'm not judging you at all.
And that goes back to people in America clopping to lower pleas for things they know they didn't do, just so they don't have to face the possible consequences.
But I look at when I see the documentary, I look at the conditions that you had to live in, and we're talking about living in basically a hole, and with bugs and rats and nothing to sleep on, nothing to eat. I mean, it was just, I don't know how. I mean, the fact that you were able to be here and be in one piece and have your mind together as a human being, and I know you as a person who's just incredibly gracious and kind, and I can see you've come out on the good side of this, but you never, ever, this will never ever not be a part of you. When you die, it's going to say stuntman, actor, and the guy who was, it's going to be with you forever.
I'll tell you right now, I know me. I know me better than anyone.
Of course.
And if I had pled guilty for a crime I didn't commit,
you wouldn't be able to live with yourself.
I wouldn't have been able to live with myself.
What if you couldn't get out?
There's a saying in football: pain is temporary, pride is forever.
I can see that in your face.
And I would rather die with my head high than live the rest of my life ashamed of what I did.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
That's not a life worth living, and I knew that even then. And when that interpreter for the embassy said to me, "Erik, what's worth more to you, your pride or your freedom?" Right before I was being offered the opportunity to change my plea so that I could go home in just a few months, I laughed because I knew right then and there my answer. My pride was worth a hell of a lot more than my freedom.
Well, it's a great story. Who's playing it in the big movie version?
When we make it, I don't know, but I mean, one day I hope to be alive one day when it gets made into an actual live action movie.
I think it is.
But the documentary is there's
it's
a few.
There's every source right now. You can watch it anywhere.
Not on every source right now,
everything.
but it's starting.
Amazon.
You can watch it on Amazon. You can watch it on iTunes on demand.
Which are the easiest places.
But it's not on Spectrum, not yet. It's going to be. Mm-hmm. You can order it off of Target right now. I think Walmart as well, and it's going to keep getting out there on different platforms. But it's a documentary movie. It tells absolutely everything that you might have questions on. If you had seen the show Locked Up Abroad, don't think that that's the whole story. It's not.
What's Locked Up Abroad?
Well, back in 2011, I filmed the show Locked Up Abroad.
Which was one of those hour kind of America's most...
Less, 48 minutes.
48 minutes.
And the show was about people going to different countries and getting arrested for doing stupid shit. Now, when I got back in the end of 2004, people from Locked Up Abroad, that was going to be their first season. They started contacting me, "Hey, we want to tell your story," and they sent me a bunch of tapes about the show. And I watched the tapes, and it was all these assholes who were drug smugglers and just bad people getting caught in different countries and you deserve to be in jail because you're doing bad things.
I only saw a portion of that show because I saw it in a hotel room. It just happened to be on one day when I was turning the TV and was
channel surfing. Yeah, they play that. They play the hell out of that show. Yeah. And the problem with Locked Up Abroad for me is it's a very, very popular show. It's played in, I guess, every country in the world because Nat Geo's, worldwide, and they've narrated it into translated it into every single language.
And paid you 35 cents.
Yeah, I wish. No, they don't. I don't get any residuals from that show. But I have over 800 million people who've apparently watched it, and
wow.
all it did was leave a bunch of unanswered questions. So when people start filling in the gaps with their own common sense, it's nowhere near.
Well, the whole story also happens from your upbringing, how decisions were made.
On my documentary, 3 years in Pakistan.
Yes.
But they did none of that in Locked Up Abroad.
There's even more for anybody who's thinking about producing a great movie. There's even more about that. There's even a deeper, bigger story about a kid who grows up wanting to be something and trying to take care of himself, and how who you can count on in your life, who you can't, the kind of decisions you make. Like you talk about, you play poker a lot.
I play poker for a living, yes.
Yeah, and you talk about how you can tell things about people by looking at their face.
It's called reading tells.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell if someone's strong by the way they act. You can tell if they're weak, if they're hesitant, if they're indecisive, if they're trying to act strong, they're probably weak. If they're trying to act weak, they're probably strong. You can tell a lot about a person just by the way they play their cards and how they ask questions, or the way that the heartbeat in their neck goes off, the way their breathing increases.
Wow.
At a poker table, if you just pay attention, all the information is there.
Do you play with my old actor friend, Jennifer Tilly?
I've played with her many, many times.
Is she good at keeping her face?
Jennifer Tilly's an actress. She's an amazing poker player. She's an actress.
She's very good at it.
Yeah,
she's become a real player in that world of players.
I've played her many times. I've busted her out many times. She's beaten me a few times. Mm-hmm. She's great.
Yeah, it's still beautiful.
I agree. She's definitely a sight for sore eyes.
Academy Award nominated actress. I remember sitting with her at a church at an Actors Equity Call, which is for the theater, where they had an open call where you could go meet to be into a season of plays. That's how I met her. She had this long ponytail, and we were the first two to get there, and we sat on the floor and waited. And
How long ago was that?
Oh my God, I hate to tell you.
She was younger. She was just a knockout. When I was a kid, I'd watch her movies and I'd be like, "This girl is gorgeous." I always had a crush on her, probably like every other young teenage boy.
I had a crush on her, and I'm not even into women. She was just so. There was just something about her that was just so that you couldn't touch.
I see her at most charities in Vegas. She's a very caring person, and she shows up to the same charity I go out to every January and June called it's for cerebral palsy for a friend of ours named Jacob Zalewski, and I see her there almost every time. She's just a wonderful human being, and
she must know him. Maybe she knew him, or maybe something.
Well, no, she's friends with him.
Oh,
yeah, we're all friends with the guy Jacob, whose charity it is that we host. But really quick, I don't want to jump too crazy. The reason I want to point out that if you see...
We have time and I have a lot more questions.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to point out, though, if people have seen the show Locked Up Abroad, they might think to themselves, why do I want to watch your documentary? I'll tell you.
Much more detail.
It's
all about you.
It explains everything on why I was able to handle what I handled.
That show is a theme about what happens.
Well, that show's also only 14 months of my 3 years incarcerated. It doesn't tell the other 22.
But also the story is, for me, is that the question I always want to ask when you came back, how hard was it to assimilate back from having been tortured, isolated, and completely uncommunicative with friends and family?
Well, when I came back from Pakistan, I came back with just the clothes on my back. And
what happened to your apartment and all your things?
Oh, well, I was gone for 3 years, so everything was gone.
Where did it go?
I don't know. I don't know where anything went. The only thing I had left from back in the day was my car that I had built. I bought a 56 Chevy when I was 12, and I rebuilt it. And it's from scratch. My mom kept it in her garage. That's the only thing I had when I got back.
No clothes? No?
Nope. Maybe like some minor things, but nothing major. Like all my furniture was gone, all my stuff was gone. But I came back with nothing on my back and no money, and I felt richer than anything. The very first day I was back, it was the day after Christmas, and the day after that, I went to go see my aunt who was on life support over here in I think it was Beverly Hills, and she was on life support, just a fruit. And my first thing to do on being back in America was to order the doctors to pull the plug on her. Because I'd known, my aunt and I were very close when I was a kid. We'd go to the track every summer. And she was a big gambler, huge gambler, but she was really good at handicapping horse races. And she won all the time, so she knew what she was talking about. And she was in her late...
So gambling is a family thing.
For me and my aunt it was, yeah.
Well, just going on this trip was a gamble.
I mean, for me it was just a lifetime opportunity.
See, little Jewish kid, father was in the Holocaust. I'm not going. It's never going to happen.
If I knew then what I knew now, there's a lot of different things I would do.
But nobody could have told you anything then, right?
No.
You were 21, was it? Or?
I was 21 when I got arrested. I was 19 when I started working for the man. I had made 2 trips before to Turkey. This was the first trip to Pakistan, and the trip wasn't even supposed to be mine. It was supposed to be my older brother Peter's. But he backed out 10 days before going, and I didn't want to leave.
Because it was Pakistan.
Because it was the Pakistan.
And it was after 9/11.
Yeah.
And, you still felt...
It was the worst time, apparently, but I was a young, naive kid who I figured no one can mess with me, and I had I didn't care attitude, and I thought my smile and my charm and my smart-assness would get me through any bad situation, and I was absolutely right.
Well, you learned to speak the language.
I learned
to become a lawyer of sorts.
I had to become a lawyer in jail to handle my own case and get myself out. But learning the language was absolutely crucial to surviving over there, and to being able just to simply communicate with people. And it let them see me as a human being, and allowed me to see them as human beings. And learning the language so that you can talk to people, and when you're in a bad place, understanding each other is crucial.
So when you were in prison with all these people, and eventually you were put on death row, which was really the best apparently place ever, because you got your own room and your own...
I always had my own room for my own safety, but I was put on death row when I first got into jail. the superintendent at the time, he decided, well, since everyone was trying to kill me, that's the best place to be. And he would also joke that you're probably going to be hung anyway, so we might as well just keep you there. Then when he got transferred,
I don't know how you hear that and get through it.
Pakistanis have a warped sense of humor. But when he left the prison, because superintendents get transferred out to different jails all the time, a new superintendent came, and when he went the rounds of the prison, he's like, "Why is this guy on death row? He hasn't been charged yet, or he hasn't been convicted yet." So they put me in two cell. Two cell was for like politicians and NAB case members. NAB case was a National Accountability Bureau, like corruption cases. These were people who had money. And they didn't want to put me in the barracks because the barracks, they had like a couple hundred guys sleeping shoulder to shoulder, and people were getting raped and killed there all the time, and it would look really bad if the only American got killed in their prison. So me being an American worked out in my favor in the sense that I at least had my own cell, which is a luxury
I hate
in
to
Pakistan.
ask that, but I mean, I hate to ask about this, but I mean, I assume the sexuality thing was just impossible. I mean, guys being there forever and people attacking each other sexually.
You heard about it happening all the time in the barracks, but not in A class, one cell or two cell, or not on death row either.
So you didn't have to deal with that.
I didn't have to deal with any of that.
Wow, because that would have been just, I don't know if I could take that.
I couldn't. I don't. That's the one thing I'm thankful to God for, is that none of that ever happened to me. I think that would be just the most demeaning, sad thing that ever could have happened. I mean, what happened to me was terrible, but it could have been way worse, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah,
it could have been way worse
because it's a violent act.
Yeah, no one wants to be taken. No one wants to be raped. No one wants to be, dehumanized. I felt dehumanized just by being tortured and taken, and forced to stay there against my will. And it could have been even worse had I been. I'm lucky that I was bigger than everyone there by far. So in case people tried to kill me, people tried to attack me, I got in more fights than I could count. But I was able to handle myself because I was young and in shape.
Why were they all fighting you? For what reason?
Some asshole put a 5,000 rupee bounty on my head. That was worth roughly at the time $87. That's a lot of money in Pakistan. So you had all these
$87.
$87
to kill you.
To kill me. Yeah.
And people in prison wanted $87 that.
5,000 rupees is a lot of money. You know how much a guard makes to work in the prison the whole month?
No.
Gets paid by the government 6,000 rupees. That's at the time that was roughly $100. But you know how much they would pay just to work inside that prison?
No.
15,000 rupees. The reason being is because that's where all the money is. They're beating it out of you. They're extorting it out of you. Or they're working for you. So a guard is starting $250 in the hole for a job he's only getting paid $100 for to work inside the prison. Just for the opportunity to be able to beat it out of prisoners or extort it out of prisoners.
So the corruption is just...
The corruption isn't just in the prison. It goes all the way up to the presidency of Pakistan, and people were
when you told me this, because you're telling me this story again, and I know this from before, and and it sort of mirrors what's happening in our own country right now. I mean, we're not that different.
Over there, it's just not hidden. They're wide out in the open.
Right.
The guards want the money.
We're not that hidden anymore either, and that's what's so shocking. So it certainly has changed certainly your point of view in life and how you see everything that's going on, I would guess, and living in 2018 in America, of where we could go if we stay on this track.
This might upset you, but I think that people in America are sheltered, and they have no idea how good they have it.
Oh, I'm not. I honestly agree with you.
They love to complain about things that are like people in other countries are like, why are you complaining? You guys have it good. You don't have any idea what bad is.
Well, that's what happens if they say, oh, hey, I can't move up, or I'm a white guy and they're taking away my jobs. You are a perfect example of somebody that said, hey, if I'm not acting, I'm doing stunt work. If I'm not doing stunt work, I'm playing poker, making money. Yeah. If I'm not doing that, I'm owning a piece of a restaurant, which you do. Yeah. You still do?
Yeah. I used to own a piece of 8 restaurants, and I own a piece of 5 restaurants. Mm-hmm. And so I get a little bit...
So that's what I mean. You're somebody who
I invest in crypto. I put money away from a rainy day.
But I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. Right, yeah. So,
I wear a lot of different hats.
Right, so you're the guy that says, hey, if this isn't working for me, if I'm not making as much money in this area and I want to live this way, I'm going to go the other. I'm not going to blame it on other people. I'm not going to say this is the reason. You're a perfect example of a young guy who is a complete entrepreneur and an artist. And, I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that, man. I'm very happy to be your friend. I'm happy that you care enough to, take the time to help me with my documentary. Telling my stories, it's funny. A lot of, I told you because you knew what was happening to me when it was happening.
Yeah, your mom had contacted me and someone else. I can't remember. It was such a long time ago. And then I would send letters occasionally, and I didn't know you even that well, other than the one day we worked together, and then the one day that I auditioned you. That's really all I knew. And then and then you came to the screenings of things. I think you came to a couple.
We went to Texas to the Austin Gay Film
Oh
Festival.
yes.
I flew out there with you guys.
I forgot that. Yeah. That was that was a pretty big deal at the time for all of us. Just to be in some big festival in a different city, it was sort of cool. And I forgot about that. You're right. So we had spent very little time together. That's probably when if I remember, when I started to like you.
And we all got the limo together, and we stayed down there, and it was like really hot and humid. We went to the Bath Bridge.
And we were the only ones that really weren't big drinkers.
I don't drink at all, but
yeah, and you and me.
Yes,
I remember that, because that's why that's when we sort of bonded, because I wasn't a big drinker either, and we went off and did our own thing. I think we had lunch or something, or went off and did something.
We went to a bunch of. I remember we went to a club. I don't know. Did we go to the bridge with all the bats under it? And then everyone's like, "What are those? Those are all bats flying from underneath the bridge in Austin." And we got like dinner, but it was like. We went to a bunch of we were supporting the film, so we went to a bunch of gay clubs,
right?
and I was just part of the entourage.
Had you ever been involved in that much gay stuff?
Never.
So was it overwhelming, or does it?
I mean, for me, I can get along with anyone, any nationality, any sex, doesn't matter. I mean, for me, I'm not like some people are like, ooh, gay, gross, and
even today.
Okay, in June when we were doing in July, was it June? Sorry, in June. We were doing the charity tournament in Vegas, but also I was playing the World Series of Poker. And when we were doing the charity, there was this other, I'm not going to name him because I don't want people to get mad at him. But the night before, my girlfriend, her friend, and we went to go see, Chippendales over there at the Rio. And we did it. I thought it was my idea. Let's go see Chippendales. And then we had a great time.
But aren't those guys weird looking with all that shaved body?
That's part of the fun.
Oh no, I think
it's part of the fun to see.
It looks crazy.
No, it's crazy because you got 9 or 10 guys up there who are either all ripped up, and you got your preference or whatever. I'm not. Is it gay, mostly? But it was like 10 guys.
I know you're not gay. You don't have to tell me right here.
But people, when they said
after 20 years, I think I got the message.
When we were at the table and they were laughing like Erik. Was up there, and when we took the photo, I sat on the guy's laps for the photo because it's just part of being funny, you know.
Exactly.
I think it's funny to live outside your box.
But
all the chicks in the audience, they were going crazy. And I tell guys, if you go to Vegas, you should go to either Thunder Down Under or Chippendales to meet girls because
they're already crazy.
The girls are nuts. All these chicks are we're showing their thongs and they're all showing their boobs, and the girls in the audience are going crazy. And the guy at the table, when we told him. That we went to go see Chippendales the night before. He goes, man, that's gay. And I go, what? Going to a strip club where there's one chick on stage and 400 guys, that's gay. Going to Thunder Down Under or Chippendales where there's 9 dudes and 400 girls in the audience is the opposite of gay.
Going to a strip club with all guys and one gay, that's
one
not
girl.
Gay. That's not gay.
And one girl.
There's nothing gay about that. It would not interest me to be in that room with all those weirdo guys.
I'd rather be in a room with a bunch of crazy girls. Mm-hmm. And even though I got a wonderful girlfriend and we're very much in love, she had a great time. She was going nuts. They brought her on stage and did the whole cowboy lasso thing on her. But the point is going there and just having fun. It's not about you're seeing guys get naked and do stupid stuff. That's fun if you can see that. Mm-hmm. And I'm about living outside the box. I think it's for both sides. You know,
yeah.
You're a great human being, and I love you for that, man. And you know what You've always been respectful to me, and I'm glad we're friends. And so mm-hmm. I have a lot of gay friends. I do, because they're just if people are good, I got a lot of straight friends, and there's gay people I hate, but there's also a lot of straight people I hate. It's people. Uh-huh. It doesn't matter what you do and all that stuff. It's people.
Do you think you got that from being in prison at all?
No, that's always been me.
Oh, it has.
It's always been me.
But you dealing with so many foreigners, because there was a lot, and not everybody was Pakistani, right? There were people of all different kind of races.
No, there was every country was being represented there: India, Iran, Iraq, France, England, South Africa, Australia, Indonesia. A bunch of Asian countries were being represented there. Russia. I mean, you name it. You were getting Nigeria.
A lot of people were pushed into this industry to survive too.
Into the drug industry?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people were in it for the quick cash.
But some people were pushed in it because they needed to survive, I'm guessing.
I absolutely. There's a million.
Do you think it's always the quick cash? I mean,
there's a million reasons to be in the industry. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of them are because people get tricked into it. Here's some sad stories I would get. Because I was the only American there, all the drug smugglers in jail, they wanted to become friends of me. Hey, when you get out, we should work together. And I'd be like, nope, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. And they're like, oh, they would be like so disappointed when they learned I wasn't an actual drug smuggler. I remember this Nigerian guy says to me, he goes, it's a miracle. I go, what's a miracle? He goes, you're actually innocent? I go, yeah. He goes, I go, how's that a miracle? I'm here for shit I didn't even do. But he had wanted, before he knew I was innocent, what he had encouraged me that the way we would do it. Because I wanted, because when you're in jail, you got nothing but time in your hands, so you talk to everyone. You're friends with assholes, and that's just the way it is. You can't pick your friends in prison. So this one guy, we weren't friends, but I definitely heard his story. The way he says, this is how he wanted to recruit me. He goes, you're a good-looking guy. He goes, and that would work great in what you do. And what you would do is you would go, and this is what he did. You would go to these third world countries, and you'd find either widows or ugly women who were like by themselves, and you make them fall in love with you. And it's really easy. You promise them a life back in your country. And what you do is you pack their suitcases full of drugs. You don't tell them. And if they get caught, I don't know this woman. She's not with me. And I thought that's
my God.
That's terrible. But that was that's just one of their many ways of getting drugs across.
God.
So and I said, you've done this? He's like, many times. I was like, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit.
So these women have gone to jail for being unattractive.
Well, they went to jail for wanting to be in love.
Or wanting to be in love.
It's sad. And that happens over here. I heard about a story over here in the Mexican border. This woman who works over in Mexico but is an American, she traveled and she commuted back and forth over the Texas border. Well, after she came back one day from work, she went straight to the auto body or to get her car serviced. And the guy who was working on her car says, "Ma'am, you need to see this. There was a fake gas tank underneath her car, and it was filled with all this marijuana." She called the cops on herself. She goes, "Whoa, hey, look, this is what we found." Cops go there. Obviously, she's reporting it herself. They deemed her a dupe, someone who doesn't know they're being used to smuggle narcotics.
But that's in this country, right?
Yes. But had she been stopped at the border, what would have happened to that woman? "Oh, I didn't know about it." "Oh, sure you didn't." She would have been arrested, 100%. She would have had to try to defend herself. That happens all the time. Drug smugglers will use any means possible to get their product across, and they'll screw people over left and right to do it. A lot of people get in trouble for things they didn't do, and yet in our system, everyone says, "Hey, possession's 10/10 of the law."
Yes.
You have to prove your innocence. And how do you do that? It was found on you. How did you? Let's say that you and I were going through. Let's say that you and I were going through customs, and I swapped your luggage looks like mine, so I swapped our tags. I got there first, knowing that there's drugs in my luggage. But I follow you out. If you get caught, then I don't know you. I keep going. But if you get through, "Oh, sir, sorry, I think we got the wrong stuff. I looked in it, and that looks like my bag. Is that it?" And they see it. "Oh, okay." That's another way. And this is here's the worst way I ever heard of. And this is from
I have bright blue luggage.
This is
for that reason.
Well, here's the Nigerians. They told me that something they do. They were just shameless. They said, what we would do is we'd go to families with lots of kids, really poor families. And we would say, "We're going to adopt your youngest, a baby. Always has to be a baby, a toddler." And then so the person, the family's poor. They're like, "Well, we can't take care of this kid. It's the best chance for this kid." Like families with like 8 or 9 kids.
That's heartbreaking.
So they'll take that kid and they'll kill the kid. And this is the reason. Because drug sniffing dogs can't smell narcotics through a decomposing cadaver, and they'll hide the drugs in the baby and just say the baby's sleeping.
Oh my God!
This is what they told me they do, and it's just the worst thing I ever.
Well, on that lovely note,
it's
I have to say people must go see this documentary. It's playing October 3rd and 4th at the Laemmle in NoHo, California. That's in North Hollywood. It's as of October 2nd. It's on all of the everything from iTunes to
Amazon
to Spectrum, and probably in a couple days.
It's on demand. It's on Target. You just look up. You type in 3 years in Pakistan, the Erik Audé story. My name's spelled ERIK AUDE. If you guys watch it, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Erik Audé, ERIK AUDE, and tell me what you thought of the movie. If you have any questions left, you can ask me them. But I promise you, if you watch this movie, you're going to not only be wiser to what happens out there, you'll be a lot more spry. So if something like this were to ever be offered to you or someone you care about or love, you'll be able to be a lot wiser than I was and walk away. See it for what it really is. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. I wish I had seen something like this back in the day, because had I seen this, I think I would have been smart enough to walk away. I think I would have been smart enough to not have to go through this.
And they can leave you a message through Instagram, or they can contact you through your Facebook page.
Yep.
And if somebody's interested in doing this movie, please give me a call. And you guys all know how to get a hold of me. Just go to jasonstuart.com, STUART. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, Jason, man. I appreciate you having me.
Take care, everybody. Until next time.
We kind of jumped everywhere. You think it was too all over the place, or?
No.
Huh?
I guide the story always. And I like it that it's not, that's why I always say it like this. And, you don't have to be so hard-ass about everything because they don't know you.
And I come off pretty hard. That's like we're talking about me being a rapist and everything.